I was thinking the whole time you were talking about this, about the one thing that you say you're okay with people using for like ever, and that is glutathione,
Hmm.
you know, as part of supplementation. So
Yeah.
that could be, I mean, I know some people can take NAC, but if you don't do what you're supposed to do with NAC, then it doesn't really help you. But I did see it as you were scrolling through. I saw glutathione somewhere. But anyway, so it is still good to take it, even if you are on a good path. But um, we've kept taking it, and I think it does help, especially in times of like maybe higher stress. I feel like it's there and it's already
Mhm.
doing its job. So you would still recommend that as the one, as the master antioxidant, that you would continue to take it.
Yeah, that is the body's master antioxidant. It is a great point by you, and yes, that's something that, especially as we age, we can use more of, and I'm going to show you why here. So I just wanted to get back to a nice picture. But we've got our two people here. Let me get my tool. So yes, in a general sense, like Jennifer said, glutathione is the body's master antioxidant. So we want to have sufficient levels of that because we're just like we're never going to be toxin free, we're never going to be oxidative stress free because let me show you here. We've talked about mitochondria before on various videos, and mitochondria you can see here in this picture are the green components inside this cell. So this square here is a picture of the inside of a cell. It's just a part of the cell. This blue part is the nucleus of the cell where your DNA is. These orange parts are other like components of the cell that have different jobs, but the green parts are mitochondria. And we talked about the mitochondria are the powerhouses of our cells. They make the ATP or the energy for us. So if you have fatigue, there's probably a mitochondrial component to that. Okay, so you need healthy mitochondria to have energy, to not have chronic inflammation, all kinds of stuff. Well, in order to make the energy for us, mitochondria naturally make oxidative stress. Okay, 1 to 2% just naturally. Okay, so we'll never be oxidative stress free, and we don't want to be because if we were, then our mitochondria aren't working and we're dead. Okay, but if we're unhealthy, now we might be making more than that 1 to 2% reactive oxygen species or oxidative stress. And now we can be promoting the inflammation things we were talking about. And so the glutathione helps neutralize the oxidative stress. As we said, it's the body's master antioxidant. So that's one reason we want it. And over time, before we button that up, over time, our mitochondria can become less efficient with age too if we're aging chronologically and not aging healthy biologically. So that's one thing. But then more kind of relevant to the immune system discussion, we have uh, so we've got glutathione. GSH is the abbreviation for glutathione. And then we've got this other uh, cytokine in our body called transforming growth factor beta type 1. And this is an interesting molecule. It's what's called a pluripotent molecule, which means it could be good or bad. It's got many faces. You can call it a Janus molecule as well. So in certain situations, it's anti-inflammatory. In certain situations, it's pro-inflammatory or at certain levels. And what's interesting is as we age, this goes up. And so more TGF beta actually reduces or drives up oxidative stress, which eats up our glutathione. Okay, because we need to use our glutathione to try and block the oxidative stress made by that. So we've got a loop. So if we're aging will drive the TGF beta up just naturally. So then that drives down our glutathione. So then, as Jennifer was asking, should we take glutathione as we age, NAC and or glutathione? Yes, because we're naturally going to be driving our glutathione levels down by the increase in the TGF beta. Well, high levels of TGF beta suppress the Th1 side of the immune system, which goes down with inflammaging. And Th1 is the best adaptive immune arm for viral infections and cancer surveillance. So if we lose that, then we have greater risk of this. So again, we can use glutathione to try and stop all this stuff by,
Is it always,
inhibiting TGF beta.
is it always used to or best to use the liposomal glutathione, or does it matter what glutathione?
That's a great question. And we've actually made that video before, but yeah, we can answer that again right now. So thank you, Lyndall. So if we talk about glutathione, now the question was liposomal or oral, what's best? And then there's also you can also do IV. There's IV options too, and the walk-in IV clinics and things. But so the answer is what's best? Well, the answer, I would answer your question with a question, is for who. So if you look at studies on glutathione, especially earlier studies, they'll say, oh, taking glutathione doesn't do anything, it doesn't get out of the gut. It's broken down the gut, and it never goes systemic. But more recent studies have said, well, the studies looking at glutathione in the gut using quote unquote healthy subjects, those quote unquote healthy subjects are just asymptomatic Americans. Well, that's not the same as saying they're healthy. Okay. And the average American is not healthy. So does the glutathione not leave the gut, or is it all used up in the gut of Americans with unhealthy guts that typically drink alcohol, eat processed food, take antibiotics too much, etc.? So, all that to say is that it actually does work, and it does leave the gut or have an effect outside the gut. But if that's why I want to ask the question, what are you trying to impact? If you want to impact the gut, then let's use oral, because you're dropping it right down in there. Okay. If you want to get more of a systemic effect, then we want to use something like IV or liposomal, because we want to skip the gut. If you take an oral and you're sending it down to the gut and you're hoping it gets systemic, it could, assuming that your gut doesn't have reasons to use it right there, but it would still have to go through what's called first pass metabolism. So glutathione is made up of 3 amino acids. And so in the gut, it gets broken down. It's a glutamic acid, cysteine, and glycine. Okay, so in the gut, it's going to break down that 3 amino acid group into those individuals, and then you're hoping it gets rebuilt and shipped off somewhere systemic where you need it. Might not happen as efficiently as if you just take liposomal under the tongue and hit that blood supply right away in the mouth, or take an IV and drive it straight into your blood. Then it's already in the system and can, have a better shot at having the impact we want. Make sense?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question. And then Jennifer had mentioned that you can take NAC, which is a precursor for glutathione. NAC stands for N-acetylcysteine. And what did we just say? Cysteine is one of the 3 amino acids needed to make glutathione. So you can take N-acetylcysteine and as a precursor to glutathione, but for various reasons, people are more or less efficient at converting NAC to glutathione, and that process probably gets less efficient as we age unhealthily biologically. So straight glutathione is helps avoid that. You could test glutathione levels to see, hey, do I personally need to take this right now? We could run your levels and see, no, you're good for now, or yes, you do. So there is an objective way to answer that question for individuals. And then, so glutathione is the master antioxidant, but there's tons of others. So in the body, glutathione would be, let's say, antioxidants. So biologically, as we said, number 1, glutathione is king. Okay. Then we have another one called superoxide dismutase, which would be second best. And then we have one called catalase, which would be third best. And the body's making all 3 of these all the time. But again, you could supplement these 2 to help raise those levels. Those would be you could consider those endogenous antioxidants because our body makes those. Then we've got exogenous antioxidants, which come from our diet. And so think of the berries, right? Blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. The darker the berry, the darker the skin, the more antioxidants. And then there's like the we'll call them the sexy antioxidants, or the blog antioxidants. And you'll go through blogs and you'll see things like, oh, astaxanthin comes from this special marine algae that you can only get from Hawaii, and buy my bottle now, and there's things like chlorella, spirulina, and I mean, there's so many of them. There's lots. So you can get antioxidants from our diet, and veggies are full of antioxidants. Basically, you get antioxidants from colors. So think about Eat the Rainbow. And there's antioxidants in different and there's different flavonoids and polyphenols that have properties too that are beneficial. So you could eat purple eggplant and get one kind. You could eat red peppers and get another. You could eat yellow squash to get a different one, and green spinach to get a different one. So they're all over the place. And if you look at the healthiest foods, they're the most colorful foods, and tend to be the deepest colors are even more healthy. So endogenous, exogenous, we can make them internally and supplement them. We can eat them from the outside world and supplement them as well. And all of that is going to help battle oxidative stress for us.